A tooltip provides a text for a widget which is displayed if we tap long pressed on this widget. In this tutorial we will look at how we can add a tooltip to different widgets, and we will also look at the customization of the tooltip so we can give it different decorations and give it a different size and so on. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel and make sure to watch this video till the end. Let's get started here with this design, and if you click then on one of these buttons we want to add a tooltip, and therefore we simply go to the implementation of these buttons which are here inside of this build actions method, and here we basically have this build heart method which displays here this heart icon, and we also have here another one for this share icon. And we want to start here with adding a tooltip to our heart icon, and therefore you simply wrap it inside of a tooltip widget, and here you can set a message which is the tooltip text. If I now long press here on this button, you see we get here this tooltip showing for some seconds and then it disappears again. Right now the tooltip is shown below our widget, and we also can change it by simply calling here this prefer below property, and we set it to false. And if we set this property to false, then it is displayed here on top of this widget instead. And we can do the same thing now for the share icon. So I also add here a tooltip, we set a message, and we also set here this prefer below to false so that the tooltip is displayed on top of this widget, and then it looks like this. And lastly, we want to add here also the tooltip to this icon here at the top, which is this bookmark icon. And here you can also set then a tooltip, and within it you set the message which describes then the functionality of this button, in this case bookmark post. And now we have here also this tooltip for this button. Right now I also started the same application as the web application, and now if I simply hover over with our mouse over a widget, then the tooltip will show here immediately. So for the mobile version you always need to press long tap on a widget and then this tooltip will show, and for the web version you only need to hover over with your mouse over this widget. Now we want to look at how we can customize our tooltip so that we can set a bigger font size, and we can also give it here different decoration. We can set here the height of the tooltip, and we also can give it here some padding. Now we want to get more theoretically and look at all the properties the tooltip widget has. Some widgets have already by default a tooltip property inside of their widget, for example the floating action button and also icon buttons, and therefore you can simply go for example to this floating action button, and here you can then set the tooltip, and here I set the tooltip to add user. And now if I press here longer on this button, then you see this tooltip. However, if you put here this tooltip inside, you cannot customize your tooltip, and therefore I will simply uncomment this again, and we wrap here around a tooltip where we actually can customize our tooltip. So again, I put here the same message inside add user, and this is exactly then the same thing as if you put it here within the tooltip property. However, the tooltip is always displayed at the bottom of this widget which you give the tooltip to. So if you supply here tooltip, it is displayed on the bottom, and we want to put it right now to the top the tooltip, and then it is shown here above. And what you also can do is you can set here this vertical offset, which is then the space between our button and our tooltip, and we increase here this space a bit, and then we have here more space between our button and our tooltip. Now we want to add here for our buttons a tooltip which is highly customized, so we can change the font size, we can change the decoration and so on. Therefore I have here already all these buttons inside, and each button has here a tooltip wrapped around with a message. And we want to start here with a TextStyle button, and therefore I go to the first tooltip, which is this button here, and we add here a text style so we can change the text style of our tooltip. And here you see the tooltip is bold and it is bigger, and we also supplied here color of white. Now we want to go over to this button where we can add a decoration for this button, and therefore you have here this property decoration, and here inside we can then set the gradient, and I set here a linear gradient with 2 colors. And then you see that our tooltip has here a customization, so it has a different color, in this case a gradient. However, you can also comment this gradient here out and instead put a real color inside, for example orange, and then our whole decoration has here the orange color. You can also customize your tooltip by making it rounded, and therefore you can add here this border radius, which you set then to a circular value of border radius to 25 for example, and then this tooltip is also rounded, and if you set a higher value inside, then we have here a more rounded decoration. Next we want to look at how we can change the height of a tooltip, and therefore you can simply set here a height property of 50 pixels for example, and then you see that our tooltip has here more space in height, and this is what you can define here with the height property. Like I have shown you also before, by default it is always showing the tooltip below our widget. However, you can also set here this prefer below to false, and then it will be displayed on top of this widget. Another thing you can do is to customize how long this tooltip is displayed on our screen, and therefore you have here this variable show duration, and by default the duration is at 1.5 seconds, and I simply double the seconds right now. And now if we have here this tooltip, you see that it takes here 3 seconds, so it is longer available for the user to read. Lastly, we want to look at the tooltip padding button, which means that if I tap here on this button, we also want to have here more padding around, more space, and therefore you can set here this padding property, and then I set here 20 pixels to all sides. And if I now tap on this widget, you see we have here 20 pixels in all directions in space. By the way, if you want to get here this whole source code of this app, you can get it with the first link in the description, and with the second link you can get access to my Flutter courses where I teach you how you can become a more advanced developer. For the last tooltip button, this tooltip wait button, we go to the web application, and then I add here a wait duration of 1 second, and this means that after 1 second our tooltip will appear if we hover over this element for 1 second at least. And now you see if I go here over this element, it appears immediately. However, if I go to this element, it takes here at least 1 second. And the other ones are immediately displayed here within our UI. And lastly, I want to mention that you always set here within the message property a proper text. So make sure that you describe here the functionality of this button. In this case, I only made here some demonstration, and therefore I have chosen here the same text. However, for real world applications, you maybe take then this example here where you have this button, this icon button, which has no text at all. And if you hover over this, then this describes the functionality of this button. Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel here to get the latest news about Flutter, and see you soon. Bye!